Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Everybody who watches his show on a regular basis knows my love of the stretch four.
You know, we all make mistakes. You might have made one going to
It's
Tallahassee.
mercy if y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, cross over to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. This Shelly-oo, hoodie girl dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we fall for. Peep the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets out the buckets, baby. You out of time. It's buckets. What it is, homie, it's buckets. Woo! We get buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
Welcome back to another episode of Buckets. We got Vish, myself, Matt, and Melissa, full squad on the show tonight. How are we doing tonight? Melissa, how are we doing tonight?
I'm tired. For those of you who haven't been following, I was in DC with Vish this weekend. We drove up to New York to see the Canes play Colorado at Barclays. And for anyone who watched the game, knows the tragedy and massacre that took place at Barclays Center on Sunday afternoon. But on the bright side, both of my flights, both to and from DC, were on time. No 4-hour delay this time. So, and the flight attendant gave me extra Biscoff cookies when I told them how good they were. So, shout out.
There you go.
We don't have the airline sponsor.
Matt, you see the quote?
Look at this.
Long Beach. It should be Go Beach.
Is that what they say? They say go beach?
Yeah, Go Beach. Picked up the big win against USC.
Oh, we got a usual. We got a usual in the chat. James Cat, friend of the show.
Our diehards aren't going anywhere despite this. Oh man, look!
He's at the Dolphins game.
Man, this is some serious dedication.
Canes Cat seat.
Wow.
Not that it,
Salute
not.
to you, sir.
I guess it's sort of important, but nobody on this show is a Dolphins fan. But good luck.
I actually cannot tell because I know the Dolphins aren't. I don't believe they're winning. I'm pretty sure
they're down 10-7. I think.
Okay, here we go. He's talking. I was like, we're talking about the Dolphins and the K. All right. Well, yeah. We're gonna dissect.
The men's basketball team is definitely on the ropes.
We're gonna dissect what's left of this basketball program and.
But Vish, how are you? Sorry, we didn't even let you get to Matt's question.
I mean, you know how I am. We spent the whole weekend together.
Vish is lonely.
We saw that performance together. It was we got the full squad here. The full squad feels like it didn't go to Brooklyn though, because
Matt's on the other coast. But
yeah, I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about the actual team.
Oh, but the bright spot of that day is that we got Cat's Delicatessen.
There you go.
Yeah, and avoided not getting drenched in rain.
Wait, so
pouring the whole time. So,
Melissa, what'd you get from Cats though? Because you don't eat red meat, right?
I got turkey, which people on Twitter gave me a hard time for not getting the pastrami. But Vish, what did you ask me, and what did I say?
I said, "What should I get?" And she said, "Get the pastrami." This is a great story there.
I don't eat it, but everybody that I know that likes Jewish deli always says pastrami is the best. So I'm like, if you want to be a true Jew, you got to get the pastrami with Russian dressing. But I got turkey, Russian dressing, and then of course the pickle. So, but they put a pound of meat on these sandwiches. They are massive.
Oh damn. I feel like we should get into this game, man. Canes Cat team is going off in prices, right?
And I tend to agree. I tend to agree with them, but
Yep. Sorry. Food.
I actually don't necessarily agree with that. I think when we were down by about 10, 11 points with 7 or 8 minutes left, we quit. Like we kept throwing the ball away. There was no focus. We stopped playing. And
Because
that's
we've
why
come back from deficits worse than that last year.
The game was over. Right? Norchad found out it was over, but we didn't finish the game, and they did, and that's why it ended up being a 30-point game instead of like a 10-point game.
Yeah.
So,
and I think one of the big things that me and Vish were talking about at the game, and I think we even mentioned it in like the chat because we were texting with Matt the whole time. I don't understand not bringing Keyshawn back in towards that middle of the second half.
Let's start with the beginning because I think I
know,
would
but that's
say
what bugged me the most.
what bugged me the most was how soft we were. They came out physical, and even Norchad was not ready to physically engage with them, and they pushed us around. They bullied us. So we just took it. I mean, let's be real here. We got pushed around, and it wasn't just that. And yeah, there are definitely issues with where look, we're undersized, so you got to put in the effort. We just didn't do it. Like we were slow to every ball. We got out hustled for them. I mean, they had more rebounds in the first half than we had in the entire game. And this is with them.
And we weren't taking the shots that we take. We played to their strengths and our weaknesses.
I thought we were lackadaisical. I think we showed up. I think this has been a problem now a few times this year where we've been to the Elite Eight and the Final Four, and we show up thinking that's going to get us something. It's just not. You have to work just as hard and play just as focused, and we're just not focused right now. It's a lot of crap going on, and I think we expect that's going to buy us something like that. We've had these runs, and we're one of the top teams in the ACC, and you still got to show up and play, and we just didn't do that here. And when I look at,
especially in the second half,
but I would say most of the first half too, we made that run at the end of the half to cut it to one without getting a rebound. Like they traveled on one play, we stole a ball, and ran off. I think it was like a 7-2 run or 7-0 run, whatever it was, and got within one. And it's like that game, we were down one, but like, man, we should be down a lot more than one right now. And it was, I was really disappointed in the effort and the focus. The size issues are one thing, but you can't just like get pushed around the way we did. It was really disappointing.
A lot of unforced errors.
I mean, I see a lot of people complaining, saying things about the size thing. Obviously, we are a smaller team. I do think that the backcourt combo, like we've talked about this so many times, of Nigel and Bensley is just, I don't know, giving us trouble on both sides of the floor. But the one thing I was going to say too is like, when you commit to small ball, you have elite guards, right, that are able to make plays at a high level. And to some degree, you have to have guys that are not going to turn the ball over. This season, even though we're 7-2, we have been terrible with ball security and just making poor decisions. I believe we're 225th in turnover percentage, I want to say. Last year, 47th. The year before that, we were 7th. A lot of that was due to, Charlie Moore. You have to credit that to, Jordan Miller and Isaiah Wong. Last year had the ball in their hands a lot, and they never turned the ball over. I didn't think this was going to be as big of a problem, but, with these expanded roles, I mean, blame it on adjusting, to an expanded role or whatnot, but it's just so difficult to watch because they're not even turnovers that, like, I feel like the defense are really pressing. It's just us with poor decision making, and it hasn't gotten better. And it's exemplified in these games against, competitive teams like Colorado, Kentucky. And it's really hard to watch.
Melissa?
It was a rough 4-hour drive back from Barclays to DC,
and
in the pouring rain.
The other thing too that I want to touch on, because we've talked about it before, is the miscommunications on defense are just like so atrocious and awful. AJ Casey got lost like 3 times, like completely turned around, didn't realize who he was even guarding. And I don't want to just blame AJ Casey, because I think Matt Cleveland gave up like 3 or 4 backdoor cuts himself that I just remember off the top of my head. Even Bensley had some moments where he helped off, and like, in basketball, you're going to be switched on to someone bigger, right?
But also, I want to talk about that though too. I don't understand what our coverage was when that big oaf they had was setting those screens up top, and why we were trapping everything and allowing him to slip into the paint unfettered on every freaking play.
Well,
why don't we just go under the damn screen and let them take a pull up off the dribble 3-pointer? Like, I don't understand why we never switch that coverage. That guy 44 can't shoot for shit. Like, why are we even messing out there and opening the whole paint up by trying to trap everything? I don't understand. I get it conceptually coming in.
Vish was saying that from like halfway through the first half.
Because what they were doing, because they were smart in how they attacked us, and I was really annoyed we never switched the coverage, which is they weren't doing the traditional pick and then roll to the hoop and throw it directly into the big, where we would have, someone like maybe Cleveland switched onto him, which is a mismatch, but not as bad. Instead, they were making 2 passes to get it in there. He was sealing, and that's where the extra rotation has to come from the weak side then, because then you're rotating. So you're trapping the point guard or whoever's dribbling at the top with Norchad and one guard. Instead of going straight and throwing straight down the screener, they were then throwing it to the elbow. And so then you rotate. So whoever had come down on the bigs, usually Cleveland, then has to rotate to the 3-point line. That's where you end up with like Bensley trying to guard their center. And I don't understand why we never switched the coverage up. They just kept running that over and over again. It was layup drills. And then we overplayed it and that allowed all those back cuts. Like, at one point I was like, we should just go zone and have someone stand next to the basket. They're doing layup drills. I don't understand how there was no defensive adjustments. One time, right at the start of the second half, somehow miraculously Norchad got all the way back in front, undercut the pass, and stole it, even though he was out the 3-point line when they threw the pass. Other than that, it was automatic mismatch and wide open guys in the paint for them every time they ran that. And
it was painful.
Part of it is certainly
really
players not executing what they're supposed to, like Matt said, getting lost, not like rotating crisply. But I don't understand why we gave that big guy so much respect on the perimeter. Let him shoot jumpers all day. Like, to me, we were way too aggressive in how we played that. Like, go under the screen, make them hit a few threes, because they actually did not shoot that well from 3. It was everywhere else that they killed us. And I would have just said, hey, let them. It's better than giving up layups. And we never really.
Half the threes they made, or even more of them, were off. Like, they missed a couple threes and they kept getting offensive rebounds.
And that's also simply
how defensively, and they just got wide open shots and made it on the third time. If you let them keep shooting it, they're going to make it eventually.
But that was also a simple fault of how we were covering their screen game by having Norchad try to trap everyone out beyond the 3-point line. He's so far from the basket.
Yeah, it's not.
I would have liked to have seen some adjustments at some point, because we never switched out of those coverages.
There's a lot of fronting of the post too.
Yeah, and
if you do that, like this is something last year we did really well, right? You front it, like we did it against Baycott. You front it, or you cheat over the top, but then you have help side there right away. And I felt like it was coming way too late, and they would just get easy lay-ins as well.
We don't have Jordan Miller.
No, we don't. I think that's why you see a lot of these things getting exposed now, because he covered up so much defensively.
Well, but it was him, but it was also, we weren't playing 2 tiny guards either. It's both of those things, right? He's definitely, the defensive, I would say, IQ, or to be kinder, comfort that he had and how comfortable he was with his role, and just going from that to Cleveland, who's lost half the time, is a big fall off. And then, having 2 point guards essentially that are if we're generously 6 feet tall, probably significantly shorter than that. That's the help instead of Isaiah Wong is also just a big issue there.
There was also something else I noticed, and we weren't maybe necessarily doing this we were doing this more at the beginning of the season than we are now, but or not doing it more. I said it to Vish at the game. I was like, after we shoot, everybody's already running back. I feel like Norchad's the only one that's going off after offensive boards. You don't have to have 4 guys back. Like, obviously, you want to stop the transition. That's why you have your backcourt guards. But earlier in the year, you saw Matthew Cleveland, always at the rim. And we said it, when the season first started after the first few games, like, yo, he's offensive rebounding. He's always around the rim. Like, awesome. And then I feel like no one's really trying to do that anymore. Norchad's really the only one going for boards, and it's causing him to like be in a situation to maybe pick up a foul or two that he doesn't need. Where are other guys crashing the boards? Like, somebody shoots a 3 and they're already halfway, they're already at half court running back. Like, if you miss a 3, a lot of the times that rebound's going long, other people can, one or two guys can go back, but if you shoot a 3 and you feel like you're short, you're shooting it, try to, crash the boards. It's going to go long. Colorado did that most of the game, and they got 2 or 3 offensive boards and kept making threes. I don't know where the intensity was from the beginning of the season. Is it because we're playing better teams now? But just because you're playing better teams doesn't mean you should stop doing what was working early in the year. It just doesn't make sense to me.
No, I do think we're a little. We need to really. We need a mental adjustment. I think we're showing up expecting to win because we're Miami, which sounds absurd in basketball. But look, no, but we're still ranked somehow because we're Miami. Like, we have a reputation now. When you go the Elite Eight and then the Final Four and you win the ACC, we have brand reputation, which also means like when you go play Colorado and you go play Kentucky, we're now a big game for these teams, and they show up, and you better show up. Like, I can tell you right now, I went to both those games. Obviously, Colorado's a neutral site. That Kentucky game, that crowd was juiced up. This was like the biggest event they've had. Like, they don't care about football much over there. Like, since last year, probably like the last SEC game last year, they were juiced up for Miami to be in town. And I went to that same arena, and we actually won there when Jack McClinton was on the team and Frank Haith was the coach. And they couldn't give a crap. Like, people showed up late. I was there like half an hour before tip-off. That place was jammed. And it's because Miami's a brand name now, which means people are going to show. Like, Colorado came in there like, this team is one of the best teams in the country. They caught the Final Four. We're going to kick their butt. And they came out there, and they did. And we have to understand that we have to meet that intensity. We have to match it. So people are coming for us now. Like, we are a big school for them to beat. We're getting the same effort that Carolina gets, that Duke gets from opponents. And our attitude is like, we're just going to show up and win. And that's not going to get it done. This was a lazy performance. It was lack of effort. We somehow still don't know how we were only down 1 at the half. But, what did we give up in the second half? We gave up, 53 points or something ridiculous?
It was a lot.
Come on. Like, what are we doing?
Did you guys expect us to be ranked? I didn't.
No, but it makes sense because we have a reputation now. We are basketball. Like, we are we've always complained our programs aren't respected. Our basketball program is, not just by the voters, but by the other schools. It's part of the problem we're having. Like, we used to like get overlooked, and now we're the schedule that they circle. Like, Colorado's probably been looking, once this game was announced, Colorado's probably been circling this game, looking forward to it. That's how they go lose to Florida State. They don't really give a crap. Florida State sucks, right? But Miami's a brand name. Like, you should have seen them play against Florida State. I watched the end of that game, and like, they look terrible. Like, they look like we looked in this game. They were throwing up bricks. They weren't running their plays. They weren't running back on defense. This is Colorado against Florida State. It's everything we did here. But look, when you're a name brand, you're going to get people's best games, and we have to match that intensity, or we are going to keep taking losses like this. And we actually have been on the other end of that. Like, we've had some really good teams, and we've had some mediocre teams that still beat Duke by 20. Because they got down to Miami, and they're like, ooh, cool, it's sunny and warm in February, and we came out, this is our game of the season, and we are going to give it everything. And we blew them out. Not just with like the 2013 team that was like one of the best teams in the country, but some of our bad teams have blown Duke out. Just because like that's the game you circle. We're that for a lot of teams now. Yeah. I mean, even not to like, go back to something we actually won, but for FIU for sure, we're the crosstown team. They've lost to everyone under the sun, but they played their best game against us, and we didn't show up and almost lost. I mean, it's what it is at this point.
Matt, anything else to add?
I mean, I guess defensively as well. we talked about the coverage and miscommunication.
I mean, it's suffering here.
But
boy,
just like I just don't understand. Like rebounding is a mentality, right? It's like it's an aggressiveness. Obviously, there's some like ability to it and whatnot, and size is important, like a important factor into it. But like, besides Norchad and I would say maybe Wooga, like what were the numbers for Matthew Cleveland the past 2 games, or the 2 game? Was it the 2 games for Kentucky and this one that he had 2 rebounds total or something? Vish, I remember you tweeted it out. It was like he had 2 total rebounds in a certain span. But either way,
I don't.
Either way,
this.
you need better. You need better. I was looking at the defensive rebounding rates for the team, and the 3 lowest on the team are 3 of the starters: Matt Cleveland, Bensley Joseph, and Nigel. You need better. You need, as a team, you're undersized. I get that, part of this is, miscommunications, right? Like if you're not in the right spot, you're not going to be able to box someone out. I think that's part of it. But it's a mentality. I don't understand,
We shouldn't be looking
whole,
lost at this point, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't be looking lost. We shouldn't have this amount of miscommunications on defense. We shouldn't. Sorry, I was reading Bill's comment. Just offensively, just the lack of engagement. Like, watching us last year versus this year, it's like we were trying to kill you on every possession, right? And then I feel like it's like we're taking possessions off, not engaged offensively. Like, that would happen on the defensive side of the floor last year and the year before that as well. But I mean, to this degree on both sides of the floor, it's crazy to me.
I feel like our offense had a lot of just like one guy going ISO and dribbling the ball out like 15 seconds off the shot clock. Then we pass it out, hold the ball at half court for a few minutes, and then we finally run our offense with like 6 seconds left on the shot clock.
Well, and do you remember the first possession? It was either the first or the second possession out of the half. We did the dribble handoffs. They were actually aggressive, trying to get switches. And then there's a high ball screen for Nigel, and that center Lampkin switched onto him, and I think he either drilled a 3 or he did something. He scored on
the 3. Yeah,
and I'm like, where was that the entire like rest of the half? Like, I don't understand it.
Well, I did know we were also, and Melissa got an earful of me yelling, "Shoot the damn ball" at them, because like, look, if you're gonna play tempo, when you're open, you gotta shoot it. And we had way too many. Like that play you mentioned, like he wasn't open, Nigel was, but look, you got the big on you. He takes a step back, shoot over the top of him, and I thought we hesitated a lot of, we get into as Melissa said, we would rather than just take the first open shot, which is how we normally play. It was a lot of, all right, let's rotate it back outside, dribble the clock down a little bit, and I don't know to what end, because that's not our strength. It's not executing late game and the late shot clock plays. We're not a slow paced team or a fast paced team. So
yeah,
I don't know what we were doing there.
When we get into these moments too of like these runs that the other team goes on, I felt like the 2 things that would keep us in were our defense would kind of, force some turnovers or whatnot, which is not going to happen, at least now, right? Or Isaiah would go to that little mid-range, shot and get us back in a rhythm offensively. And I feel like we don't really have that right now.
Matt Cleveland is capable of that, though. And I don't know what's going on with him, because he played really great at the beginning of the season. I've said it multiple times. I love his mid-range game. Where has he been in these 2 big games?
I mean, where is it? But everyone disappeared, right? I think. I mean, I don't know what the plan was against Colorado. They were very aggressive defensively. They were overplaying, and we weren't aggressive. You got to respond to that aggression with aggression. We didn't really do that. Again, we were kind of just stagnating offensively. We did drive the ball a lot more in the first half and miss some layups and stuff. But there were open jumpers to be taken. I would have rather just keep shooting especially, in the second half, it obviously crescendoed when, frankly, we just quit with like 8 minutes left. But a lot of those turnovers you mentioned, Matt, that weren't really forced were out of first not taking an open shot. Like, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's AJ Casey. If you're wide open from 3, shoot the damn ball. Because otherwise,
I think we
you're
both
breaking
were
the
yelling,
offense.
shoot the ball.
Right, because otherwise you're breaking the offense. Like, you can't – what are you going to do, drive it into a massive humanity? That's when you're going to get stolen or you're going to get blocked. If that's the open shot, you just take the open shot. Like, because it's not like they have one less player on the court. He's standing somewhere else. So if you're in the open space, you're not shooting from there. You're necessarily moving the ball into some place where they're going to have players. And a lot of those turnovers especially just came out of hesitating on
20 turnovers.
How many rebounds did we end up with? Like 16 or something ridiculous?
Yeah.
I mean, just they had more in the first half than we had the entire game. It was and then again, I think just the attitude, man. I don't know how you. She's waving at AO. But the attitude, just the quitting, to me, that's like the unacceptable part because I don't understand how you just like let that happen because that last 6 or 7 minutes of them just repeatedly stealing the ball and dunking it was just some of the worst basketball I've ever seen.
I don't think I sat down for most of the second half.
Yeah, I know.
I was
weird.
standing pacing the aisle for most of it. Yeah, we were in the last row of the upper deck, so we didn't have anybody behind us.
Well, hold on. It was
the lower deck, yeah.
Of the lower deck, because the upper deck was the last row of. Actually, there were suites behind us and stuff, but
those were higher up.
Yeah, they didn't sell the upper deck, so
yeah.
We sat what would probably cost like $1,000 at a Nets game, but there was no one around us.
Yeah. So I was standing, but usually because what happens is when it's a close game and I'm watching at home, I go to my spot in my living room where I stand and watch the game. And it's worked so far, but I guess it doesn't work if you're standing in the arena. AO likes the shoe game.
Thanks, AO. Appreciate it.
AO's over here.
I guess Melissa saw my massive collection of shoes, but
Vish does have a lot of shoes.
It's not even all
really.
Of them. A lot of them are in under the bed in like a case.
Yeah,
I have room for them in the shoe rack.
But I did get to see Vish's office, so I got to see the whole setup and how it looks. And I walked past the Harris Teeters where he goes grocery shopping. So I got to see his current hood.
Found out her cousin lives like a block over from me.
Yes, my first cousin lives like a block away from him, which is really funny. We met up for some Mexican food. But it was fun. It was fun getting to see Vish's area and despite the Canes losing terribly, we did have a lot of fun driving to and from New York. Vish got to listen to a bunch of my playlists.
Awesome.
We watched like the first quarter of the Cowboys game on my phone.
You watched. I was listening while you narrated what was happening. So I'm like,
yeah, because the commentators aren't as good as.
But also, she was like, "Should I hold this up so you can see it?" I'm like, "It's raining like you wouldn't believe." I'm like, I need to look at the road, not at Tony Pollard trying to get a first.
We were on like the New Jersey Turnpike for a long time, and there's like no lights. And it's pouring.
And she's like, "Should I hold the phone up so you can see the game?" I'm like, "How about I look forward at the road?"
Oh, Bill is a fan of Harris Teeters.
Really? Because there's also Publix in North Carolina, man.
Is there?
Yeah. It's almost up here. There's one like an hour away south of Virginia.
I will say, for anybody that lives in DC, I love DC. It was actually a lot of fun hanging out. I wish Miami had better public transportation because the metro is so convenient. I mean, it would take me a few days to like orient myself. Thank God for Vish always telling me like, no, you've turned the wrong way. And I'm like, damn it. There's no Publix near Bill.
Harris Teeters are good.
I didn't get to go in the Harris Teeters, which was sad. We were outside of Capital One Arena during a Caps game, though. I was like, oh, dang, we should have gotten hockey tickets. Vish, AO says Vish got to rate Hoodie's playlist 1 to 10. I'm gonna guess a solid 6.5.
Well, there were multiple. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we listened to my tailgate playlist on the way up there, followed by a little bit of Ed Sheeran, just because that's kind of my jam right now. And then on the way back, I just put on my favorite alternative rock Pandora station.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say my mixtape.
I mean, in a way, isn't that what we're listening to?
Well, I mean, so no, Vish, what did you think of my tailgate playlist?
That was solid. That was definitely higher than a 6.5. That was there's some good.
It was a good mix, right?
Yeah, you know what I'll give it? You'll both get this reference. I'll give it a 9.8.
That's what a 9.8 is what Matt rated my fit on Saturday.
It's a 9.8.
I was very pumped about all of my Canes cold weather gear. So I was sending Matt pictures of what I was wearing because I was just super excited to break out like the jackets and like the jersey over a long sleeve. But the black Canes wear starter jacket that I wore on Saturday, amazing.
Yeah, no,
Matt was like, "Yep, black on black. I'll give it a 9.9 out of 10." I was like, "I'll take it."
Yeah, and then the team didn't show up.
Yeah, I guess I can't wear that jersey to basketball games anymore. It's bad luck.
Yeah, I've been over this with her. Like we've lost in every. I was wearing the same jersey I wore to the Mississippi State women's game, and it did not help. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, my road record / neutral site record is really, really bad.
It doesn't matter. We would have lost that game if you were like not watching in Puerto Rico or something. But anyway, I do want to kind of get a little bit back on topic. So what? All right, we kind of talked about how
it's not a show unless we
talk about
moving
forward. What this means?
Yeah, well, I mean, what it means. I mean,
we're not as good as we thought.
Well, what does it mean, Vish?
Well, I mean,
now we're not.
No, I mean, TBD on that. Right, in terms of like how this impacts the overall season. You know, depending on the rest of the trajectory, this is the type of thing that. I mean, if we're not nearly as good as we thought and we're in a bubble, you know, this could be the thing that. But they lost to Colorado by 30. Is you know, if we end up, it might cost us a seed line if we're good. You know, and we're like, oh, they could be a 2 seed, but they're gonna be a 3 because of that game. It was that bad. But I'm just talking about how do we get this fixed? Let's be more practical here. Because it's months till March, right? If we do really want the ACC, that can paper over a lot of this. But how do we get to the point where we're capable of doing that?
You gotta finish December strong.
Well, I mean, look, we're not playing anyone else good, so we'll win.
That's what I'm saying. We need to finish December strong. Use those games to fix what's going on.
So how do you fix it, though? What's your fix? What's the Melissa Brown fix here? What do you do?
Man up. Grow some freaking balls.
Okay, that's one. That's one approach. I was thinking more tactically.
If I just joined the show and I heard that, I would have swore you were drinking whiskey just straight as you said that.
Look, the one thing I will say for both of our shows is we tell
what Bill said.
I agree.
No, one of the things I'll say for our shows is both of them, this one and the football one, is whatever's in the intro we advertise. Melissa has no shame. And
is that gonna be my new
show prep
talking part? Is man up and grow some balls? Are you gonna replace my love of the stretch 4 with grow some balls?
I am 100% not putting grow some balls in the intro. Now,
yes.
outside of massive gender reassignment surgery, what is the tactical adjustment we make here to kind of like because I would say it's not lack of talent, but I would say there is definitely
lack of execution.
Well, lack of talent distribution. Everyone's tiny. How do we coach our way around that? Like I don't know that we, even with better effort, you know, we wouldn't have lost by 30. That we weren't getting physically manhandled across the board. It wasn't just Norchad. And I mean, do we?
No, somebody needs to step up and take that role in leadership. When we were down to Texas in the Elite 8 last year, before a free throw or a timeout or something, you would see Jordan Miller call to the guys to huddle up and they would talk, taking on a leadership role. Everyone on this team is young or new to the team, one or the other. Like people need to. Bensley Joseph needs to step up. Nigel needs to step up. Wooga needs to step up, take that leadership role. When you see guys slacking off, call them out. Like, there's a lot of talent on this team. We've played small ball before and won, but someone step up and show that you can fill Isaiah Wong's role or you can fill Jordan Miller's role. Like, it's just stupid. Last year, you go down 10 to a team like this, Jordan Miller or Isaiah Wong step up, we end up winning that game by 15. Like, no, as soon as we get shot down once, we don't know how to freaking come back and they just lay down.
But I don't know that. I mean, Isaiah Wong was a better player than anyone on this team, and that's not to do with and that's not a knock on anyone on this team, but I mean, it's the freaking best player in the ACC last year, so I think it's easier said than done. I'm just looking.
But we said that at the beginning of the season,
right? But
you're one person won't fill Isaiah Wong's shoes, but multiple people can do different things.
Right,
people just need to step up.
But is it smart? Let me ask the question: is it smart to try and fill his shoes with two generously 6 foot tall point guards?
I said it in the offseason that I wasn't comfortable with Nigel and Bensley starting.
But now we're seeing it in action, and
I think you got to start.
But I said it in the offseason. Go ahead,
100%. I think you need to start staggering the minutes, especially like when you look at like the production in terms of offense. Like, the whole reason you're playing small ball is to create mismatches, take advantage of scoring opportunities, and that's not really happening with these two guys, right? At least in these. It's a small sample size of these two games and against Kentucky and Colorado. I would like to see, more Keyshawn. I think he has a lot of potential. And even Chris Watson too, because I think he's our best defender, to be honest.
I actually thought one of the interesting things in the Kentucky game is Bensley got in foul trouble so early. We had to play bigger guards. And it kind of worked. That was when we actually started. We started off bad, if you remember that game. He got 2 fouls. We subbed, and that's why we went on that big run and took like the 7 or 8 point lead we had. I don't think that's on accident. We can't match up with better teams have bigger players, and we're struggling to match up with them on the perimeter. And this is different than, we're not going to play a center, or we're going to like. Playing 2 short guards is not something we've done. We've had McGusty, we've had Wong, but they're not tiny.
But like we even said it, but we said it at the game, and I questioned it too. Keyshawn gets that steal, they take him out. He had been making shots, he'd been playing good defense. They put in Chris Watson, who didn't have a great game, and they never put Keyshawn back in until it was garbage time.
Maybe they were upset with what he did.
We questioned it multiple times during the game. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I don't think that sub made a lot of sense. I think Matt, had a little bit better. It's always kind of easier to see things on TV. I guess you'd said in our group chat he made a couple of mistakes prior to getting that last steal.
I don't remember exactly what happened. I know, and I can't remember when it was when he had those 2 turnovers that were really bad. I think that might have been actually in the second half.
I mean, we stepped on the end line like 3 possessions in a row with different players, like a bunch of freaking idiots. I
think Matt Cleveland did it twice.
Matt Cleveland did it.
Yeah.
I know Bensley did it once. I think Nigel did also.
Wooga had 6 turnovers.
I mean, it's just the amount of.
There were games like in the tournament where we'd only have 6 turnovers as a team.
You know what though? You bring up Wooga having 6 turnovers. I mean, he's done that before, and we've benched him. He got benched in the Final Four. Like, we had Harlan Beverly took his minutes, and. We don't have that option anymore. He has to play, so he's just got to.
He's one of the guys.
Yeah, no, he has. There's no one to bench him for, and not that we should bench him, but like just some of this we got to grow out of too. As Melissa said, like they're not new to the program, but they're new to these responsibilities, and they have to take ownership.
I need Keyshawn and Chris Watson to get more minutes in these upcoming games. I really, really need them to get more minutes because I feel like they're going to get a lot more playing time in ACC play because we're going to need them.
I just don't know that we can survive playing that backcourt. It's too small.
Listen, when we started the year and Bensley was making threes and his offensive game was improving, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I was wrong. But obviously I wasn't because I said it the entire offseason that I was like, they're small ball and this is like really, really small ball. and we're getting exposed.
Yeah, and again, the previous way we used to play small ball was, a lot of wings, not a lot of point guards.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the same thing.
If Matthew Cleveland is going to play like he's the 4th, 5th option on the floor offensively, I need him to step up defensively and do a lot more of the things, be more engaged.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, how much of this, though, is him, he's out of position. He's not a 4.
I would say I would push back with the defensive things. It's him. It's a lack of engagement. Like, it's things that we talked about before the season started. I went back and I watched the Colorado game, just like, I think it was like the first part of the second half, or like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Just
hold on. So pause. You watched that more than once?
Yeah. I need to see why.
All right, listeners.
Matt's the breakdown guy.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't going to be ready to do it today, but I'd like to break down the game like this week at some point if we could.
Thursday.
You and Vish will have to do that. I'm not available the rest of the week, which is why we're on a Monday.
Yeah, and that's when I saw
Thursday.
Yeah, that's when I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but let's do a show Thursday.
He gets lost. Like, so AJ Casey gets lost. Like, you can't. These are guys that can't get lost. Like, it's like I referenced earlier. Jordan Miller was so huge because he was never out of position and he covered up. If someone goes for a steal, he's gonna cover up, right? Like, he's gonna help out, be there on help side. If you put like what are those things that track your steps? Like, if you put one of those on him last year, on defense, I don't even would have ran like 40 miles or something because of the distance he covered. We don't have that this year. And I think that's why you see, so many easy buckets. I mean, they shot like 70% from 2-point range against us. Just wide open layup drill. Yeah.
And a lot of that was skewed by the last, I mean, it wasn't good before, but the last 7 minutes or what, after Norchad found out, we quit worse than I've ever seen a team quit. Like, we weren't even getting shot attempts. We were just kicking the ball over to them.
Yeah. Like, I get they had more offensive rebounds. Like, we got dominated on the glass, but I mean, if you look at second chance points, it was 13-6, right? I want to say that's a difference of 7 points. To me, it's when you look at the 20 turnovers, I get some of those, a decent amount of those were in garbage time, but like, you look at how many your starters had, that's really disconcerting. And I mean, moving forward, that's something that really concerns me.
There was one other thing with Norchad. He only had one foul at the half, which was great, but like, so Coach L was subbing him out when 44 was subbing out too. And I get that you want to rest him, and it's good to rest him when their big man is out. But I would have loved to see him in there for a few minutes without Lampkin in there, because I feel like maybe he could have helped us out with the rebounding more. I get you're trying to save him from fouls because you want him in as long as possible for the second half, but I feel like maybe that's something we could have taken advantage of and we didn't, especially when Lampkin got his second in the first half.
Yeah, and I did notice we were kind of subbing, like when he would come out, we would take Norchad out. Frankly, look, Norchad's an undersized big, but I would expect him to be in better shape than that big bastard that they had there and to be able to play more minutes. And I don't think we need to match subs with him. Like, he should have stayed out.
We played Colorado's game. We played to their strengths.
I think we definitely should have been extending his minutes out and say, hey, that guy has to rest. You don't.
Yeah.
So when
we pulled him every time they took out Lampkin.
Yeah, no, we were matching up, and like, to me, I was like, that's the time to go to work and exploit them.
Yeah, that dude was annoying as shit, by the way, too.
I was too busy getting annoyed at our teams, whatever the hell that was.
Yeah. But
it's obviously we're all like massive Canes hoops fans, but that's why we do the pod. But like, it's so frustrating for me. I've talked about my road record before, but like to travel for games, cover the team, do all this stuff, and then like every time I go to a game, it's like the worst game we've ever played, and I'm like, what is going on?
I guess that's the worst game I've seen in person this year. It's questionable.
Yeah, I know you went to Kentucky, but like It's I need to see a win on the road. Like I just whether it's football, basketball, something. Like it's just I need a road win eventually. So.
Yeah.
In brighter news, the women have
let's
come up in the rankings.
Let's do your editor a favor here and let's close off the men's discussion, and we can talk women's hoops.
I thought we were done.
You don't get the confetti. Only I get the confetti.
Yeah.
But I do. So I guess. So do we expect any lineup changes? Do you expect some minutes modifications? Like, what do we think is going to happen here?
I think minute modifications to start, and then you kind of just have to look at the stats, how much more efficient we are.
Are we all in agreement that it would be insane to just continue to play the way we're playing?
Yes.
I mean, unless their goal is to keep losing.
But that's the thing. We're going to win the next whatever games until we get back to ACC play. We don't play anyone else even with the Pauls. And so my concern is we can play whatever the hell we want against those teams and look good. Like just like Melissa said at the beginning of the year, it's like this Bensley Nigel backcourt's working for us. Right up until it didn't, right? And so I almost feel like we do need to just
right until we get into Clemson and get slaughtered.
Well,
Clemson's undefeated.
I think we just got to make the moves now, and whatever he thinks they are, right? I mean, we got to trust Coach Elda, and then not wait for it to prove out. And if it just like, look, we have a handful of games left before ACC play. Comfortable with new rotations and new process.
That's why I said I need Watson and George to get as many minutes as they can in these next few games. We're gonna need them.
Well, I'll say this though, like if that is the route we go in, we collectively as a team need to defend much better, because that's a style shift in addition to, like, those are not Isaiah Wong either. And we are not going to be scoring points at the clip we have the last few years playing small ball with that lineup. We're going to have to defend more and, play games in the 70s instead of, obviously this game, we got to the 60s and they got to the 90s. So that's not good. But generally speaking, our goal is to play games in the mid 80s to 90s. That's our best. That's not good when the other team does it and we don't. But this is kind of a paradigm shift in terms of, all right, let's play a game in the 70s now. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
I think,
and neither does anyone else.
I just think more is going to be determined once we start ACC play.
Well,
we've been shot in the foot twice by teams that are obviously better than us. How are we going to respond? The ACC is not easy, so we'll see how we respond. But I think George and Watson are going to need more minutes, and we'll see how they progress.
Yep, and so yeah, I mean we're gonna look for signs and reading of tea leaves in these next few games, but we won't know until Clemson if anything is actually working. That said, something that is working, not the women's free throw shooting, but everything else is 8-0, ranked 24th, headed to Baylor on Saturday, or to San Antonio, I guess, to play Baylor in a neutral site game, undefeated, and in the top 25 again. So big game coming up. Matt, I know you have to run, so sayonara to Matt over here. You will miss the ceremonial cueing of the Sox outro, but we'll be thinking of you.
Good to hear it. See you guys.
Long Beach.
Go Beach.
I feel like you're much more excited about Long Beach than he is. But anyway, I guess
it's just funny.
We did watch the last game together. Well, We watched the end of the third and the fourth quarter on my phone at a chicken joint.
Hangry Joe's Chicken Shop in Arlington, Virginia.
Yes, we did that.
I flew into DC with the DC airports that's in Virginia Friday night,
Virginia,
and we went to a chicken place as recommended by one of his friends, Hangry Joe's. And we turned the women's game on his phone. Like, I think there was like 4 minutes left in the third quarter, and then we watched the fourth quarter. And luckily, nobody else was really in the restaurant because it was closing at like 9 o'clock, and it was like 8:15. But like every time we missed a free throw, I like wanted to scream.
Yeah,
our team. So for preference, if you guys don't really follow the women's team that much, we're 8-0 currently. And we just dropped into the rankings. We're ranked for basically the first time this season.
Both teams are 24th.
24, yeah. Except the women are on the uptrend, the men are on the downtrend. But we are the second to last rated team in free throw percentage in the country.
I am looking. It looks like we've somehow moved up.
We did make some free throws towards the end.
Oh wait, hold on.
Our free throw shooting is atrocious. And this is going to bite us in the butt if we don't start fixing this, because there are 7 teams ranked in the ACC currently on the women's side. The ACC is no joke, and Baylor is also a really good team that we're playing on Saturday. So we need to get that fixed pronto. But on the nice side of things, Lamaya Hilton is freaking killing it. She's quickly becoming my favorite player on the team. She's a sophomore guard, transferred from Arizona this year. She played at Arizona last year, didn't get a lot of minutes, but she is a spark off the bench. She's a great defender, and just has a ton of confidence. Isn't afraid to take the ball to the basket, has a nice 3-point shot. Loving what I'm seeing from her. But also the other thing I've noticed is that every game we kind of have like 1 or 2 different players that are the people that step up and help us win the game. It's never the same person. So we basically have like a 9-10 player rotation, which is nice because it's hard to game plan for a team that anybody on their entire squad can provide the spark. Like, there's not just one person you can focus on.
Yeah, and it's definitely a like you said, it's a team. It's a team that's hard to guard because there's different people stepping up each game, so it's kind of hard to focus on one person. I would say, we did have, if it's kind of, Stedman has definitely fallen out of the rotation, so it is kind of more of a 9 versus 10-person rotation.
That's why I said 9 or 10.
Yep. That's kind of been the change. That and Tasha coming back has certainly bolstered the
She looks good. Tasha looks good though. She's getting more and more minutes, and I really like what I'm seeing with her. It kind of gives us more of an athletic big, as compared to like if you have Kyla in. Obviously Z is also athletic, but it gives us a lot of options down low, because we can kind of play it's kind of a diverse front court. Like, you can get Kyla in there and you have that big, your typical center big girl down low. Or you can put Tasha or Z in there, and you've got the more athletic, lanky, big. And it's definitely, like I said, you can't game plan for our guards because we have so many people that can step up. You can't game plan for our front court either because the 3 of them are very different. There's a lot of diversity on this team. If you guys don't follow the women's team, you need to start because they are really fun to watch, except when they're on the free throw line.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing to really like break down or analyze on the free throws. Just got to start making them. Like, I don't know what to say.
Should we talk about Cheyenne's free throw routine?
Well, why don't you go ahead?
She may take longer at the line than Giannis.
Yeah, and then it's not even
spin
going
it,
in.
2 dribbles, spin it, 2 dribbles, spin it, take a breath, bend the knees, shoot. It's an insane. We were commenting on this when we rewatched the game when we got back to Vicious, like because like the phone, watching it on the phone screen, it's like so small.
Well, especially shout to Jazz for a new haircut, which made it impossible to identify on my little phone screen.
Yeah. So I think the whole team went for like haircuts and stuff before this game. So
Apparently
like
put Keyshawn with them too, because
there's like Keyshawn got cornrows, yeah, but like so Jasmine Roberts has had long hair since I can remember watching her play, and she went with like a shorter cut. And so for like part of the game, I thought it was Lachey. And then I was like, wait, no, that's number 4. That's Jasmine. And on a little phone, it's really hard to tell.
yeah, so we were struggling to identify the who was doing what on the phones. We did do a rewatch on the screen later.
After we watched our Cowboys beat the Eagles, we went and we watched the women's game again, and then we watched the last 6 minutes of the Louisville game from the ACC championship 2 years ago.
That's my go-to. We got 10 minutes to kill. Here we go.
Whenever you need to cheer up for Canes basketball, you just watch Destiny Harden go off.
Yeah, take that. The whole game is on YouTube. You fast forward till it's 59-44, and we throw the ball away, and then you're gonna see some stuff.
And then Destiny Harden goes beast.
Well,
mode.
first Jalea steals the ball. And
Jalea gets a steal. Yeah. But then Destiny Harden goes beast mode, and it's the absolute most fun thing to watch. Like, I love that it's on YouTube now, because before my go-to like cheer up was watching the 2013 Duke Miami game. But
this is better,
now I don't have to listen to Duke Vitale complain about Duke losing.
This is better anyway, because it was pretty clear that the commentators were cheering for us, so it's a fun time.
Well, not that, but I love. Also, what's really fun is when you catch a glimpse of Coach Meyer on the sideline, like when she gets really excited, she like kicks her leg out and goes like this. Like, it's just fun to watch her get like, because like we're down 15. And like everyone's body language is crap, and then all of a sudden Destiny was like, "F this!" Like we're not going down like this. And then Haley Van Lit's face after Destiny makes that shot to win it, and she's just like, as she's walking away, and all the Canes all the women's team is celebrating.
She was right in front of our bench when it went in, so she.
Yeah, I made Vish rewind it. I'm like, wait, let's watch that again.
I mean,
but no, but for real though, the women's team this year, it's really really fun. I really hope we can get better. It's actually insane because our 3-point percentage is better than our free throw percentage.
Well, not technically, but we rank top 10 and no, because our free throws like in the 30s or 40 field goals. I mean 3-pointers, but we're right around 50% on free throws.
Oh, it got better than this last game.
No, it's been around 50%.
I don't know. But yeah, besides our free throw shooting, there's a lot to be excited for this team. Obviously, the win at Mississippi State was a big win. Mississippi State then quickly lost to Chattanooga, so it doesn't look as good anymore. Beating DePaul was nice because DePaul ran us out the building last year. But Baylor is going to – what's Baylor ranked?
Baylor they're undefeated.
Baylor's a really good team.
Yeah, let me get their rank. They're undefeated. They're 7-0.
So it's technically at a neutral site. But it's in San Antonio, so it's basically Baylor.
Right, it's basically a home game for them. They've had one kind of major opponent they played, which is Utah, who they beat by 7. Utah's, I believe, ranked 4th in the country. It looks like Baylor's ranked. Baylor does have a game this week. It's like a cupcake at home. And then I'm pulling the ranking up now. So I do want to get your thoughts a little bit on how we approach this game. So just for some reference, they average 89 points a game. And they average giving up 57. So there's probably some people that are new to watching the women's team. Baylor is ranked 10th. How much
did you see my smirk when you said that they score how much a game? Did you see me smirk?
They score 89. I did not. I was looking at the amount they score per game on another screen, so I was not looking at your face.
Smirked because, again, for people who are not familiar with Katie Meyer, her basketball team is always about defense. For reference, last year we played LSU in the Elite Eight. They went on to win the national championship. We gave up, I think, like 52 points to them. LSU scored over 100 in the finals against Iowa. So we lost that game because we couldn't get a bucket, but our defense is elite.
You expect us to D up Baylor and hold them to what? What do you think we're going to hold them to then? Because I don't think you think they're going to hit their 89-point average, right? So what do you think they're going to score?
No, I think we hold them in the 60s.
Wow.
The key to this game is how good can we be offensively?
Okay, so how
That's
good?
the
So
key.
they average giving up 57
Honestly,
points a game.
I didn't even know if I was gonna have a chance to come on the show tonight, so I unfortunately did not get to do a lot of research for Baylor. This was like I just got
Well,
off
okay,
of
but all right,
ago.
yeah, but let's do it this way then. So you're saying we're gonna hold them into the 60s? Fair enough.
Mhm.
So
I have that. No, it's because I have that much faith in our
yeah, no, and I
defense.
get that. So where do 70 points in a dub come from our team? Who needs to really step up and score the ball for us?
I think it's more about some of the girls that maybe necessarily haven't had the best of offensive games so far this season step up. You've seen Cheyenne go off, you've seen Lamaya go off. I think our bigs, each one of them at a time, has done well. I really want to see. I want to see Lachey Dwyer get on track offensively. She's missed a lot of layups last game. Julia as well. She didn't play 2 games ago, and then she came off the bench this past game. So I don't know what's going on with her. I would like to see her get into a rhythm. Baylor is a top 10 team, so you need everybody to play their best games of the season. Luckily, we have multiple people that, like we said, that can have a great game at any time. We need to have multiple people that can have a great game for this one. I don't know a lot about Baylor's team. I didn't have time to do research, so I don't know about their bigs. I think we're a mismatch for a lot of teams because we have so much diversity down low. I think we need to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think it's a big game for Kyla. It's a big game for Kyla in that regard. Like she's actually very good at getting position, not good at like catching and finishing, brings the ball down a little bit too much, kind of doesn't necessarily go up strong. She's got to take advantage of she has yet to have a game where she's not able to get to the block and receive the ball in position where like you should score that. And it's just not translating into as many points as it should.
We commented on that when we went to that women's game in Miami a couple weeks ago, and I think I said it to you a few times because, as not that anyone else would know this, but Vish knows this well. When I'm sitting there watching basketball, I just break it down live as we're sitting there. Like I just start commenting on things that I like and don't like, and that was one of the things. Is like, and actually Nwoko does this too when he's down low. Is that they get the ball inside and they dribble in, and instead of just picking up the dribble and going up, they bring the ball down low or they bring it up and down or whatever, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, and this is part of it. You know, there's being big and playing big, and she's the play.
Yeah, you have to know how to use your size to their advantage. Like use like Kyla's is really good. She needs to use her size to her advantage. Like Tosh and Z are taller, but they're skinnier, so they use their athleticism when they're down low. Kyla needs to use, you know, what's Philly do? The tush push? Use it.
How dare you bring up the Eagles? That horrendous franchise.
We just embarrassed them at AT&T Stadium.
Still a horrendous franchise, and you can't do that to Kyla. She didn't deserve that.
I would just use it. I needed to compare it to something.
I know, but that is, you know, no one, not on my worst enemy.
Dude,
I will say though, the interesting with Kyla is, and the reason I say like it's really on her just finish around the rim. She does the hard part really well. She's good at like positioning herself. She's good at fighting for the block and kind of getting in the right position to then receive the ball and score easily. And then like Melissa was saying, the score easily part is where she fumbles around with the ball, tries to dribble for no reason, allows like the smaller players to reach in, kind of loses her balance. And
yeah, I need her to be more confident with it. She gets position, she gets the ball. Go. Like if you need if you're a step away from the basket and you need to dribble once, make the move and bring the ball up and shoot. It's like you said, it's too much unnecessary dribbling. I think she's overthinking it. We know she can do it. She needs to know she can do it.
Yeah, and you know, it's a prime opportunity against the number 10 team in the country on a neutral site.
This is a big test and a really good warm up for ACC play.
So
it's going to tell us a lot about our team.
Well, so why don't you tell me what it's going to tell us and whether we pass this test? Do you think the kids are going to go in there and win that game?
Well, like I said, this is the biggest test of the season. Biggest test of the season. There are currently 7 teams in the women's ACC that are ranked. So just a foreshadowing of our road ahead. This game could be really important as far as coming down to the tournament and seeding, and if we're on the bubble and things like that. We've won all the games we were supposed to win so far. Obviously, we're 8-0. In the past, we've lost some of those games that we should have won. I think this team is trending in the right direction. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think a lot of people are giving us a chance. If we can hold Baylor in the 60s or below, we win this game. If Baylor scores in the 70s, we lose. Because I don't know. I haven't seen our offense. Hold on. Crap. I haven't seen our offense do enough yet against a good team to make me think we can score 70, 80.
As Melissa angry types, so
sorry, no, it's because someone's calling me, so I'm texting them to tell them give me a minute.
so you got the hypothetical happening. What's actually going to happen? You said if this, then we'll win. If that, we'll lose.
It's hard to make a prediction because, like I said, I haven't had.
Put a stake in the ground, damn it!
All right, listen. I'll give a Canes dub. I'll give a score too. I say we win. Yes. I'm going to say we win 65-61.
All right. You got low scoring, relying on that defense. I will say we need to thread a little bit of a needle here in terms of, winning the game in the last few minutes without being up big enough for them to be fouling.
And that's the thing. And I predict a close game, but that's a concern. Because we don't have that, Haley Cavender's not on this team anymore. We can't make free throws. Last year, if it was a close game, you inbounded it to Haley and she was a 90+% free throw shooter. We don't have someone who consistently makes free throws.
There's no excuse
and that's scary
for this team to not be
There's no, because we're such good outside shooting. That's scary. If this game comes down to free throws, I'm not confident in our chances right now.
But because when we played DePaul, hitting some free throws.
DePaul started fouling us very early. There was 2 minutes, a minute,
yes,
a little under 2 minutes left.
We're trying to get out of that red straw before it closed. They started fouling really early.
I mean that's the tape on us. We can't make free throws. If you're gonna close game with us, start fouling us. We can't make free throws, and it's going to kick us in the butt. And I hope it doesn't kick us in the butt against Baylor. But if it's a close game down the stretch and we can't make free throws, we're not going to win these games. And it's only going to get harder in ACC play. So I hope they're working on it.
Yeah. And, sometimes once it starts going, and we did make some free throws down the stretch there to finally ice that game. Maybe that'll get the confidence going a little, because we did for the game finish 50% on threes. And I think when they started intentional fouling, we were at 37 or 38% for the game. So we did kind of elevate and make the last bunch there. So that game is Saturday at 5 p.m. on ESPN Plus or Big 12 Network Plus. So, yes.
Are we doing post game?
I'm at the game, man. I doubt it. Unless you want to do it.
Well, I mean, when you get back to your hotel.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah.
All right. Stay tuned for post game. That'll be probably
Saturday night.
Yeah, I got to figure out where I'm staying.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a hotel.
It'll be at some point Saturday night. We'll do post game. So make sure you all check it out.
There are 2 other games after our game. It's another one of those tournament things, but I'm leaving right after. So
yeah. So
there's a couple
definitely
of men's
check it
games.
out.
I think one of them was 2 ranked teams. I don't give a shit.
Well, ours is 2 ranked teams.
It was like a men's game with 2 ranked teams, I think, but I'm there for one reason.
No, but for real, y'all really got to start following our women's team. They've been super exciting to watch. Remember, they made the Elite 8 last year. So if you're down about the men's team right now, first of all, don't have faith in Coach L. But second of all, watch Coach Meyer's team because they're a lot of fun to watch.
So we got a couple of more episodes of Buckets coming up this week. We got Matt apparently wants to do a deep dive into what went wrong against Colorado, so we'll do that on Thursday.
Yeah, Vish and Matt will be on sometime this week, Thursday night probably, and then me and Vish will break down the women's game Saturday.
So we'll do that Thursday night, and then Saturday post game after the Canes beat Baylor. So
65-61.
As the score has been predicted, I'll take a 3-2 win. I don't care. Actually, that'd be brutal to sit through for 40 minutes, but
I gotta go.
there's
'cause
only
that
one
was
thing
my
left for
mom
you to
calling me.
do.
All right. Thanks to all the usuals in the chat. Bill, Kane's Cats Heat, AO, Kane's today.
Bryce was there earlier.
Bryce was there. The fam. Thanks, friends of the show. See you all Thursday and Saturday. Go Canes, and cue the Sox outro. Don't cry.
We get buckets.
Keep it chill.
Yeah, baby.
Wear good socks.
Buckets.